That is the most ridiculous song.
Come on, I love that.
Welcome to Paranormal Hangover.
I quit. If you don't like my music, go home.
I felt like I was watching it. I felt like it's like the Jersey Shore, this pump out summer song.
See? Christine CMK liked the song. You don't like this? You don't like this? Come on.
These are like the cell phone rings you get on your phone for free.
You're all fist pumping. Come on, you gotta love that. Everybody's fist pumping right now. They're already. Yeah. So, hi everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of Paranormal Hangover. I wish I was hungover right now, but
I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I'm good on that, especially in this heat.
Oh my gosh. So, tonight, Jeff Belanger.
Yes.
Jeff Belanger, Mr. If you don't know him, then shame on you because he's involved in everything.
Yeah.
So you should know Jeff Belanger by the end of this show.
Not saying you know everything about him, because I didn't, but I still knew who he was. I'm not that bad.
You know something? For a team based out of Massachusetts like we are,
yeah.
And Jeff's so heavily involved in everything in Massachusetts,
yeah.
I'm amazed our paths haven't crossed yet.
Yeah, true.
I know about his legend trippers and everything that he does, just never got to any of them yet.
Yeah, well, he's a busy man. I mean, he lectures. You know, he travels around. He does a lot of events, so to speak. So
yeah.
He's just hanging around in Salem, you know.
And he's an intelligent guy.
Very intelligent.
He knows a lot about what we do and about everything else. So
yeah.
We also have our good friend Christine CMK coming on a little bit later.
Woo-hoo.
She'll be here about 7:45 to talk about her team, Quest Paranormal, out of Northwest Connecticut, and talk about what they like to do. So we know Christine very well. She's been to a lot of our events when we were with GHH. Yeah. At the Fort and Proctor's and all kinds of other places.
Yeah.
So,
Penhurst,
oh my God, Penhurst, I love that place. So, in any event.
Good times.
I know, right?
This is in the chit-chat room.
Well, we got plenty of people in the chat room right now, but some people are saying they can't hear the show.
What is going on with that?
I don't know. I don't know why they can't hear the show. I think we're on. Doesn't look like we're muted or anything like that. So, but I think maybe it's just technical difficulties on their end.
I hope so. Hope we're not just talking for nothing.
Well, if we are Blog Talk, it's still recording it.
Oh, that's true.
So that'll pass through.
That's good. Good time.
Anyway.
Anywho.
If our illustrious producer slash station owner Dennis can throw that link up, the link that everybody knows of. I can't remember. It's like night something or other. Anyway, let's just keep on rolling. Forget all the chat room stuff. So let's talk about us. We haven't done that enough, and we do have an event coming up.
Yes, we do.
In 9 days.
9 days. Is it 9 days already? Oh my God. 9 times. 9 times.
Our event's going to be during 11Zs.
11Zs.
So,
love it.
Lizzie Borden.
Yeah.
She took an axe, whacked up her dad, whacked up her mom.
Yep.
That's the end of the story. And we got a haunted house.
Yep.
So, we're going to be there Friday, the 29th. Woo! There's 2 tickets left to the event.
2.
Those 2 tickets will no longer be available after Sunday.
Okay.
So Sunday is the last day. It's the cutoff day. If they're not sold, oh well. It's still going to be an incredible event. Just a little bit more room for everybody else who's there.
Yep.
So 2 tickets remaining. You can go to www.mghparanormal.com. And right there at the top of the page says Lizzie Borden event. Can't get any more clear.
Well worth it, man. Well worth it.
Other updates for our website. We added some things to our web store.
Yes, we did.
By the grace of Pete Stagman.
Yes.
I'm not going to say God, but by the grace of Pete Stagman, who runs Parahunter. He's also the creator of the POV full spectrum glasses that you've seen on Ghost Hunters.
On Ghost Adventures.
Not Ghost Adventures, just Ghost Hunters.
Ghost Hunters.
Ghost Hunters.
I don't know. Sorry, they all have spiked hair these days.
Jay Hawes, he doesn't have any hair. Jay Hawes was the first one to wear them. So Pete had it, and he has those POV glasses, which we now can sell from our store on mghparanormal.com.
POV glasses?
Yep, and they do have their own IR unit for those as well. So in any event, we got the POV glasses. We still got the Lizzie event. You can always buy T-shirts and hoodies and bumper stickers and just love Mass Ghost Hunters Paranormal Society.
Love us like we love you.
Really? say it's awesome. Some people say it's breaking up. So
okay.
I'm breaking up with them.
I'm breaking up with you on Blog Talk. What else is new?
I don't know. I hope we have fun tonight.
Yeah, we will. We're getting into Belanger.
We got the kick-ass intro music. I don't care if you don't like it. Kick-ass intro music.
I just, I'm bitter. I'm bitter because the original song got the cut.
Well, since Denny explained to us that music licensing is like you need a license for the license of the license, and then if you play a song at 1 o'clock, you need a new license if you play it again at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, you need written permission for every minute of every day.
It's a nightmare for you. Just basically need live chat with the rights people for the songs.
Yeah, pretty much. So. Hey, can I play it now? Is that cool? Awesome.
No, too many people are playing it. You can't play it right now.
It's a go. Good Lord.
But we got that going on with our new song. It was a trial tonight. If nobody liked it, then we'll do a different one next week.
Do a different one.
So I kind of liked it though. It's kind of catchy. A little upbeat. It's everybody pumped up like, yeah, it's a rave. Yeah, and then you expect
the white man overbite.
You expect a situation to come on.
Oh my God.
And you start talking, and you get us. So. You all right? You almost fell.
Yeah, I almost fell. That would have been bad.
Lauren just almost smashed her face off our counter just now. That was fantastic. Everybody who's listening in, if I could paint a pretty picture. Her feet slipped off the chair. She doesn't reach the floor, so she was trying to move, and she slipped off the chair and almost hit her face.
That's not surprised. Come on, really? I don't reach the floor. No, duh.
So, our website, we talked about that.
We talked about Lizzie Borden. We talked about the new stuff in the web store.
Yeah. Oh, anybody in earshot who lives in Massachusetts, we are going to be at the Victorian Mansion in Gardner, Mass. on Sunday.
Yeah, from 2 to 6.
I believe Steve and Naomi are going to be there doing interviews. Mm-hmm. But we'll be there as well because we've had some incredible experiences. Our Wicked Weatherman had some incredible experiences with us there too. Mm-hmm. So we'll be there chatting it up with people, talking about some stuff, and having a good old time.
But there's a reason why we're going to be there.
There is. I was waiting for you to jump in on that.
Because Ms. Joni Mahan is having a book signing. Her book, Bones in the Basement, about Edwin and Lillian's experiences. Yep. And other people's experiences as well, including ours.
That's right. We have a chapter in there.
Chapter
31, page 194. Not that I've memorized, but that's where we are.
Me and my doofy grin are right there on the front.
So we're there. We're going to be there saying hi to everybody. Joni's going to be there signing books. And I think there's going to be some tours getting thrown around and people looking around. So
nice. Should be a good time.
If you can make it out, Google S.K. Pierce Mansion or the Victorian Mansion, Gardner, Mass., and you'll be able to find the address. It's a very creepy place, even in the daytime.
Yeah.
So
I think it's more creepy in the daytime, actually, than it is at night.
Well, it's pretty active during the day, too. Mm-hmm. So I'm not guaranteeing anything happening, but something will probably happen. And if you do go and you walk through the door, have a digital recorder running because
almost immediately
you will get evidence immediately for that.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have Lauren do a little song and dance for a moment while I try and dial up our first guest of the evening.
What do you want me to sing?
I don't know. Just talk to the people.
Hi, people. What do you want to talk about?
Keep talking. Come on. I gotta dial up.
I don't know what to talk about. There's nothing going on today. I'm actually pretty excited to speak to Jeff. There's a lot of questions I have for him. I was watching his TEDx lecture, which TEDx is this group, this organization that was started back in 1984, and they basically have a format for doing lectures. Oh, and I'm getting cut off.
We're getting rings. Sorry.
Hello.
Is this Mr. Jeff Belanger?
It is. How are you?
Oh. Hello, Jeff.
Hello.
We are so happy to have you on tonight. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, no, it should be fun. Paranormal Hangover, that's great. I mean, I feel like I've had one of those for 10 years.
That's the whole point. Thank you.
Thank you.
He gets it. So for those of you, again, I teased a little bit earlier. Jeff is, he's knee-deep in everything in the paranormal that I can tell anyway. Mm-hmm. He's an author. He got 12-plus books, founder of the legend tripping movement, ghostvillage.com, 30-odd minutes. Writer, producer for New England Legends. Not that I'm reading this, but I am. Lecturer and man extraordinaire. Is that a fair statement?
Totally fair. Thank you. No, that sounds good. I also have worked as a writer and researcher for every single episode of Ghost Adventures. I don't know if people are watching that out there, but that's one of the other things I do.
Yeah.
That's I always see the name in the credits. I'm like, I want to meet him and talk with him so badly.
Yep.
That's so funny. You watch the credits. Between you and my mom, that's 2.
I watch everything. You never know. I'm waiting for that moment when at the end, like a scary face pops up. When you go on your laptop and somebody goes, "Watch this video." That's what I'm waiting for.
Oh, did you see that, man? Rewind it.
No, that's good. I'm glad you're watching.
I'd like to start this evening off because it just seems like there's really no other place for it. But I'd like to start off with talking a little bit about something I know that's kind of important to you. You sit on the board of directors of the Newtown Memorial Fund, correct?
Yeah, actually, I did that for a year. I'm no longer on the board, but I did help launch it, get it off the ground, and we did that for a year. That's Newtown or Sandy Hook is really my old hometown, and so yeah, that's something that was definitely hit home for me, hit pretty hard. I went to that elementary school as a kid, and I have a daughter who's now 7 years old. So at the time, she was roughly the same age as most of the victims. So that one really hit me.
Yeah, and you're an alum of Sandy Hook, correct?
That's right. Yeah, I was there in 5th grade, and so when this happened, my whole family still lives in town. My parents still live in the same house I grew up in, just a mile from the school, and so I go there several times a year and still pass it and see it, and it's a crazy thing. It's funny because where I grew up, it was just small town USA, and I used to tell people, oh yeah, I grew up in Connecticut, small town, and they wouldn't ask any more than that. And if I said, well, Newtown or Sandy Hook, they'd never heard of it, which is fine. That's kind of how small town America is supposed to be. And then and now everybody's heard of it, and now I don't tell people because it's like it's just this awkward thing, I say it's like farting in a car now, when you just like, where are you from? Oh, Newtown. Oh. What do I say? And then it just gets really weird. So it's a shame. It's a horrible, horrible tragedy that still continues.
Right.
I can't even imagine the families involved and even yourself just being an alum and knowing, oh my God, that's where I went to school.
Yeah.
I not to put us in the same category, but my senior year in high school, a friend of mine committed suicide in our cafeteria during lunch. And,
oh wow.
It was one of the most horrific things, and to this day, every once in a while, my mind sort of wanders back to that. Mm-hmm. But it's a stigma for the school now that'll always be there. High school doesn't look much different. Cafeteria doesn't look much different. It's one of those things that's always going to be in my memory and the memory of everybody in my class.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's and that's it's a very unfortunate and sad part of life, and it's these little tiny moments that leave marks forever that people talk about for generations, and it's I guess forgetting is probably the worst crime. So it's important, and I think more than anything, and it's if there's one thing I've ever preached in the paranormal, it's that the discussion's important. I don't have the answers. I have no idea. I think I used to know more, but I know a lot less now. And but one thing that I consistently believe in is that we should talk about it. We should talk about all the good things and the bad things and the strange things and the unexplained, and I think that dovetails right out of the horrible things in everyday life. The worst crime is to just shun it and forget about it and don't talk about it. This terrible thing happened in your high school, cafeteria. Let's never speak of this again. And that's a bigger tragedy than what actually happened.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
Exactly. So, tell us a little bit about your jaunt here into legend tripping and what got you to start the legend tripping movement.
It was my Paranormal Hangover that got me to start that. It's fine. I don't. I've really done a lot to push the term legend tripping out there. I really didn't invent it. I didn't start it. We've been doing it for hundreds and hundreds of years, if not thousands. Legend tripping, quite simply, is you hear this crazy story. You hear about a haunted house or a haunted building or a place where a UFO landed or a cursed headstone, and you want to go check it out for yourself. It's that thing we did as kids. You dare at each other, oh, I heard that's the cursed headstone, and if you knock on it 3 times at midnight, the witch jumps out. Those things we dare at each other as kids that were like rite of passage stuff, And then we got older and we got interested in ghosts and spirits and ghost hunting and all that other stuff, and that's great and that's good. But then, it got ugly, like with all the drama and the fighting and the matching T-shirts and the groups that split off into other groups, and I was so tired of it. And I said, well, wait a minute, I still really do love the subject. I just can't handle all this junk, that's around it. And, I realized any paranormal show you've ever seen, whether it's about UFOs or ghosts or whatever, first and foremost, they're legend tripping. Someone heard a story that they felt compelling enough that they wanted to go check it out for themselves. And when you check it out for yourself, you become part of the story. And that's what every ghost hunter's done. Oh, Lizzie Borden's haunted. I want to go there, and you go there, and maybe something will happen, maybe it won't, but you'll still become part of the story, and that's the magic of all this. You don't need a team. You don't need thermal cameras. You don't need thousands of dollars of gear. You just need an inquisitive mind.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And thank you for mentioning Lizzie Borden, because we have an event there on the 29th. There's still 2 tickets available.
Excellent.
If people want to come out. So, Jeff, you're more than welcome to stop in and say hi to everybody. We'll be there around 7 p.m. and goes till about 1 a.m. or so on.
Yeah.
So, that's a great place. I mean, I've been there. Yeah, God, I've been there so many times over the years. I'm pretty sure they're going to name a room after me at some point.
Excellent. Maybe it's hopefully not the bathroom, but we'll get.
I'll take it. I would actually prefer the bathroom. That would be nice.
The Jeff Belanger shower stall.
I'm gonna go to Jeff Belanger right now. Hold on a second. So, legend tripping. You've been to some places that I really am dying to go to, like the Mark Twain house, and I know you've been to Houghton. I've been there a bunch of different times too. Love that building. Of all the different places you've gone to legend tripping, not to put you on the spot, and obviously it's cliche to pick just one. What's your personal favorite? Not like, it had the best activity. Oh, what's your personal favorite that you've gone to?
Yeah, I mean, that is a really hard one, because it's one of those things where, it depends on the day, and all the stories are unique and different. But I think for me, it would probably have to be the catacombs in Paris, France, which is where I went from being an objective journalist to a believer. I was down there alone, surrounded by 6 million human skeletons, 30 meters below the city of Paris, and I saw a shadow figure the size of a man move across right in front of me, and I froze, and I went, wait a minute, all these stories I've heard from all these people over the years, they're folks just like me. They're people that didn't ask for this. It just happened, and it's a game changer. And that's one of those places that, not only do you have like 60 generations of Parisians represented there, but you've got, a creep factor of 12, and the fact that I was alone, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Those catacombs have been coming up a lot lately.
There's a movie that's coming out about them.
Yeah, As Above, So Below.
Yeah, right, I saw that. It's so funny because, the first time I went there was 2003. And then I wrote about it, and I put it in my first book, and it was on my website and stuff like that. And then, like some cheesy movie came out, I think starring Pink, of all people, like the singer Pink. And yeah, it was like one of those B movies that just went right to cable or whatever, and that took place in the catacombs. But now there's this one, and I guess they're just, stuff gets trendy in the paranormal, and that's how it's been forever. I mean, if you recall the 1980s, I don't know if you're old enough, but in the 1980s, UFOs were all the rage, and that's where it was at. And then in the late 90s and early 2000s, it started swinging toward ghosts, and who knows where we are now.
Yeah, right.
Now we're swinging towards vampires and
werewolves and Sasquatch.
Sure, and they've been around for centuries too. So And that's okay. All of it interests me. Not just the subjects themselves, but the way popular culture, the way people, the way investigators all treat the subject. All of it is just absolutely fascinating.
Yeah. What was that story you saw, Mark, the other day about on the news about some UFO?
Oh, there was one spotted in Texas or something like that, and then somebody said it was probably just somebody driving because it was taken through a car window.
Yeah. So
they think it was just like reflection of a street light off the car window, and it looked so.
Yeah, but it's just, something like that coming up on the news, that's,
Yeah. But
and that stuff makes all of that stuff makes the news pretty regularly. Everybody's got cameras on their phones now, and whether it's a ghost image or, this stuff is always popping up on the news. And it's interesting how the news treats it, too. Even that's fascinating to me. So in some cases, you've got some news anchor that has to do this quirky story, and he's going to scoff at it. Like, well, if you believe in ghosts, check out this new video that just popped up from Alcatraz, whatever, and then and that's how it's treated. And so it's too bad, because in the old days, news was news, right? It wasn't. There was no editorializing with facial expressions or stupid gestures. It was just, you would present the facts and let the people decide for themselves. But we live in an era where news is entertainment. It wasn't. I don't care which 24-hour news channel you're watching. They got to fill that time, and so they're going to do these stories.
Yeah, exactly. And whether it's news or not, whether it makes it to a show someday because of the location, who knows? But like you said, they've got to do the stories because it's making the rounds. So if Joe B's doing it, Joe A has to do it too. So.
Big Bagel Chip's doing it.
Well, but that's the thing too, guys. I think these legends are real things. You don't have to believe in ghosts, and maybe there are no ghosts. Maybe there's no monsters. Maybe there's no aliens. Maybe there's no anything. I don't personally believe that, but I accept it as a possibility. But the legends are indisputably real. The story that gets created around some of these locations gets to the point where we all hear it, we all know it. If I say to you Sasquatch or Bigfoot right now, an image comes to mind. A tall, 8-foot tall, hairy creature that lives in the woods, usually the Pacific Northwest, but been seen all around, including New England. So an image comes to mind. Whether we ever find a dead one or a live one or otherwise is irrelevant. You know what I'm talking about when I say Bigfoot.
Yeah right, exactly.
Now, you like to say history is a ghost story.
Yeah.
That's something you do say. So this sort of ties in with all that where, I don't want to necessarily say that Sasquatch is a ghost story, but history, all these different stories and legends themselves have a story to them. So when people start telling ghost stories, you're telling a piece of history. Somebody tells us, hey, there's something going on in my home, blah, 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 blah. I heard someone might have killed themselves. Yeah. Well, that prompts us to have to do research. So now we're digging into history.
Researching.
So, I don't think it's I wish more places would open up and embrace the whole paranormal aspect of things, because it gets you to dig into the history and find out more about the business or the spot or the piece of land you're on or whatever's going on. Lauren and I took some time to watch your TEDx talk about the White House, the haunted White House.
Yeah, right.
That was awesome, man. I love that.
Yeah, thanks. No, that was an honor to get to do that. I work hard at my public speaking, and TED is an incredible format. I've been for anyone who's interested in anything, go check out the TED Talks, because whatever it is you're interested in, there's a talk on it, whether it's neuroscience or brain surgery or cancer research or ghosts. And as far as I know, I'm the only paranormal guy that's ever given a talk on ghosts for TED. So it was, I kind of felt some pressure there to represent. It was pretty cool. But yeah, no. So the first, I'm enamored with the White House, and I wrote a children's book about it back in 2008. And I got to go down there and interview some of the staff, and take a tour of the place. It's incredible, and you realize we don't know and never will know every little minute detail of history when it comes to anything at all. Anything older than 5 minutes ago, you're not going to know everything. And the further back in time, the more it becomes story and legend. And so when people get offended and say, well, no, we don't want to talk about ghosts, that's bunk, I only want to talk about real history and this or that, I'm like, come on, history is a ghost story. And sometimes these ghostly legends help us fill in. And not only fill in, much more than fill in, connect with our past and our ancestors and the people who left the mark that we call that history. You go to Gettysburg, and you stand where tens of thousands of people were wounded or killed or missing in the span of 3 days in July of 1863. If you just look at those statistics and dates, those are just cold, meaningless numbers. But care about one person, care about one ghost story, and connect with that person who was a father and a husband and a brother and a son and an uncle and so on. You suddenly connect on a much deeper level to why Gettysburg is so important, why it's critical we don't build strip malls over those battlefields, why two sides fought for what they thought was right, right at your feet, right where you're standing right now. That's what it's about. I mean, it's not just memorizing dates and numbers. History is a story. It's a woven fabric that runs through every single human being on Earth. And if you try to turn it into just data points, you're missing half the story.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's no mistake, too, with what we all do and start doing our own investigating and go to these places that have activity, that have a story behind them, and whether it's accurate or not. But when you start talking about that story and telling that story while you're there, you get some activity out of it, because
usually
it's almost as if you're stirring the spirits too, because now you're in their time. Mm-hmm. You're talking about things that they relate to or that they lived, and
sure.
It's important, and history is important, and I see there's a cemetery. This is so, again, cliche. There's a cemetery right next to our house. We live right up against the property, and all the headstones are in the middle, and it dates all the way back to the Civil War. But all the headstones are in the middle. Now, I count maybe 20, 23 headstones in there. Mm-hmm. There are 88 people buried on that plot of land.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Who knows where they are? There's nobody who right now can go, oh yeah, I know where all the graves are.
Yeah, unless I excavate the whole place, we won't know who's where.
And that's the problem right now, is so much of our history, like those people, is getting lost because people just don't really care right now.
It's just being neglected, and it's very sad.
Yeah, and it's and I think that even if we can do it through the paranormal, if people like Jeff can go and get into the White House and tell a story about the White House through the paranormal, I think that's amazing. That's a way to get people to learn.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. No.
Yeah,
no, I think I didn't invent it. It wasn't, again, I've talked to many historic sites over the years. I mean, hundreds of them. I mean, geez, Ghost Adventures alone, we've done 116 episodes now or something. I mean, I lost count. You talk to so many places, and I think some of them do see it as an opportunity to teach. Hey, if ghosts get you interested, we're going to trick you into learning something, and we're going to trick you into caring about something that you might not have cared about otherwise. I'm all for that. And by the way, I'm a believer, like I've had some experiences I can't explain with any other word other than ghost. It's very rare. It doesn't happen for me all the time. I can count on one hand how many times it's happened, but it's when it does happen, it's this game changer. And at the end of the day, to me, the paranormal, the study of the paranormal, is an inward journey. I'm finding answers, but they're my answers, and I could tell them to you, but it won't mean anything because you have to find them for yourself. You have to go ask the same questions. When you talk about aliens, you're asking, are we alone in the universe? When you talk about ghosts, you're saying, does something happen after we die? When you talk about Bigfoot, you're saying, do we know every creature that walks the earth with us? These are the big ones, folks. This isn't, who's on American Idol tomorrow night. This is like the big meaningful stuff. It's awesome. It's these are the questions that matter, and we're asking them, and it's okay. I get how science doesn't want to tackle it. They shouldn't. It's not science. Ghost investigation isn't science. It won't ever be science because it's not repeatable. It's a spiritual endeavor. Belief is part of it. So people that say like, oh, it's not good science, none of it's good science. But that doesn't mean it's not valid. I'm not saying that at all. But to think like what you're doing is scientific. I appreciate people that are methodical about what they do and are trying to control the environment. That's a good idea. But at the end of the day, it's just not science, and that's okay. Don't take me wrong in that. But I think that you have an opportunity to talk about something that's much, much bigger than just science. It's bigger than all of us. It's where science and spirituality and belief and religion and psychology and history and physics, all of those subjects come together into this great big pot of gumbo that we call the paranormal. And I say, grab a bowl and eat.
Yep, absolutely. I don't want to say sad, but the problem is that, we will say grab a bowl and eat. But there's so many other people who will just turn their back to it because of the fact that it's religious and scientific, and and all these things do come together, and they're saying, pshaw, I don't believe in that because I was told not to. Yeah. And it's hard to open those minds. But that's not why we're here. We're not here to open those minds up. If they're not going to open, they're not going to open. We're here to talk to the people who do want to know and do believe.
Yeah.
Sure.
You do a lot of that around, at least I know of the state of Massachusetts. You go to a lot of different libraries and do some paranormal nights or a supernatural evening and things like that. When you do that, do you find something interesting about the location or something local to where you're going to talk about too and incorporate in, or is it just basically what can one expect if they were to go out to like the Gloucester Public Library and see Jeff Belanger?
Yeah, no, I always bring a different show, like a different lecture. I've been doing this for since 1997. I've been researching the paranormal, and I've been doing public lectures on it for 10 years now. And so I've got just tons and tons of stories, and I always try to include something local if I can. Because I'm always researching new stuff, I'm always bringing in new things that I'm working on that I just find fascinating, that I think audiences want to hear about. But to me, one of the most interesting parts, besides you get to see the evidence and hear the interesting clips and learn some new stories, but to me, the most fun is always at the end when I say, all right, who's got a story they want to share? And always, without fail, hands go up and people start sharing their own stories, because I've just told you what I've experienced. I've talked about what others have experienced, and suddenly a hand goes up, and it becomes, I swear to God, it's group therapy. It's amazing. I wish I should take a hidden camera sometime, and point it at the audience, because people start to talk, and they say, I have a story. I've never really told anyone this, but I think my grandmother still lives in the house with us, and she died 10 years ago. And, once in a while, my blanket's all neatly folded on the floor, and I just know it's her. And then you watch their shoulders. They're up real tight right when they first start talking, and by the time they're done just telling their little story, their shoulders are down and relaxed, and they got rid of it. I finally told someone. I'm in a room full of people that are open to this stuff. No one laughed at me. Oh, I feel better, and it's so cool. It's so cool to see that. And then lots of times, local paranormal investigators will come out to see the talks sometimes, and then you start seeing people networking. They're like, hey, could we come over? Could we come check that out? I would love to learn more about your story. And it's just this beautiful thing. And I'm like, this is just awesome. My work here is totally done. Good night. Have an awesome night. I'll see you next time.
We just
so they go to your meetings looking for work.
I know, right? I'm gonna follow you around.
Go to your lectures.
But we just attended the Gloucester Block Party, which 3 times during the summer one night they shut down all of downtown, and all the restaurants come out, and cool little crafts things are going on. So we decided, we're gonna put a table out. So we went down, we put our table out, brought some equipment with us, and set up a laptop with just a slideshow. Nothing really paranormal, just pictures. Mm-hmm. Nothing paranormal in the pictures. They're just pictures of locations. And you see the people walk by and kind of look over, and then they kind of do the sidestep and sort of look around and walk back towards you and like, so what's all this about?
And then
right.
Like, oh, you gotta hear my story. You gotta hear my story.
Yeah.
And that's it, and that's the important thing. The story. I'm a writer by trade. That's how I got started and everything. I wanted to be a newspaper reporter, a features writer, and to me, the story rules everything. I understand it, and everything I do, and what whether I'm writing for television or my books or lectures, I'm crafting a story, even if it's a true story. And I realize, we all have one to share. And we live in an era where, people are tweeting in 140 characters, I just had a tuna salad sandwich for lunch. Stuff that's so meaningless. The writer and editor in me is just like, that's not a relevant detail to the story. It doesn't move the story. Cut it, And I try to be judicious about my tweeting and Facebooking, only when I have something to say. That's why sometimes days go by with no posts, because I'm like, sorry, folks, just working. I don't need to bore you with that. But
life is
happening.
Yeah, right. Yeah, cut lawn, eat dinner, sleep. Boring. You don't need to. I'm not going to weigh you down with that. But at the same time, there's deep meaning, and when you share this story, when you share, especially a paranormal encounter with someone else, what you're really saying is, I trust you. And that's a really big thing, and I don't take that lightly. When I'm, I've been at we call them muggle parties, when I'm not with my paranormal people, at a conference or whatever. So when we're among muggles, people ask, what do you do? And I always try to keep it short. I'm like, yeah, I'm a writer and stuff like that. Oh, what do you write? Well, paranormal stuff, ghost stories. Oh, you don't really believe in all that, do you? Well, actually, I do, but that's okay. Honest to goodness, I stopped caring years ago if other people don't believe. It's all good. You can make fun of me to my face. I've heard it. If you have an insult I haven't heard, I'll just shake your hand and be like, thank you, something original. So people will be like, oh, ghosts, whatever. I'm like, yeah, whatever. And invariably, the person that was the biggest scoffer will pull me aside later and be like, actually, there's this one time, and I'm like, go ahead, tell me your one time, and I'm just convinced everybody's got a story. I'm not just talking about seeing Abe Lincoln's ghost tap you on the shoulder. I mean, people that, if you include like, I smelled Grandma's perfume, a month after she died. I had a dream that seemed like it was more than a dream. I heard a voice. I saw an apparition. I saw lights in the sky I couldn't explain. We all have some story, and it's those little nuggets that we get along the way that remind us that the universe is big and we are small, and we need those reminders sometimes. We need to ponder. We need to ask the questions, and that's what that's what I think is the most important part of all this.
Sure.
Right.
We have about 4 minutes left.
Excellent.
So one thing I would like for you to do real quickly, because I do have one last thing I want to two things I want to finish off with. So real quickly, why don't you tell everybody about some of the things you have coming up? I know you have an event coming in Salem with Bob Murch.
Oh, yeah, that's one of the, yeah.
Did you remember?
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, I've got 30 events planned between now and Thanksgiving. 30 lectures, and they're still booking up. So if you go to my website, jeffbelanger.com, you can see everything that I have coming up, or ghostvillage.com has all my events listed. Bob Murch in Salem, it's free to the first 200 people, and then I think we're beyond fire code. It's with Winning Moves Games and Hasbro. 3 days before the new Ouija board movie comes out, we're having a huge Ouija event. We're going to do some talks, and we're going to have a giant Ouija experiment. Murch and I have done this. We just did this in May in Australia. We had something like 40 Ouija boards in an old haunted prison in Australia. All kinds of people using them. We're going to do some group experiments. It's going to be totally crazy. And if you're petrified of Ouija boards, then we're going to open up the 7th layer of hell, and all the demons are going to run loose. And since we didn't charge you for anything, we don't have to give you your money back.
Exactly.
Dante himself will come for you.
Well, that sounds like a fun event. We are up in Gloucester, so we'll definitely get in to check that out.
Yeah.
You guys should wait right outside and give exorcisms to all the people who run out,
Yeah.
Ah! It said I was going to die. I'm like, yeah, that could be it. You could just have holy water, super soakers full of holy water, and just as they come out of the door.
People will be like, is there a fire? Nope, just a Hell's Gate opening up. Hang on, folks.
Hold on. This is demon chat. Hold on, come here. Let me get
we got this.
So, two things I want to wrap up with real quick. And,
yes, go ahead.
I know you're involved with Ghost Adventures, which is a current show and running, and obviously, this is not directed at anyone in particular. But given the shows that have been and are on TV now, and
yes,
do you believe that television these days is helping or hurting the paranormal?
I know that question's been asked a million times. I'm gonna go with the helping camp. Of course, it hurts too, because sometimes people think like, well, you're going to solve my problem in 14 minutes before the second commercial break, right? And that's not realistic. So all television shows are edited down because that's just how it is. But here's the thing. Those shows, God bless them, all of them, have taken the paranormal out of the weird and out of the closet and brought it to the mainstream. 10 years ago, you stood by your office water cooler and go, gee, I think my house is haunted. They'd be like, you're crazy, you're fired, we're going to lock you up. And now you can say, hey, did you see that ghost hunting show last night? Yeah, pretty nuts, but you know what, actually, I think my house has got something going on. And people be like, cool, can I come over? Can I see it? Can we talk about it? So that is a very, very good thing. Is everything portrayed on TV exactly how it is in real life? Of course not. And if you believe it is, please call me. There's a bridge in Brooklyn. I must sell you, and we'll be good.
Well, we are just about out of time. So
I have more questions.
I know we always do.
All right, I'll answer it in 10 seconds.
10 seconds. What do you think about the Abbey Road picture in the White House?
Oh, I think it's cool. I can't explain it because there's those other guys just as far away that look totally solid, and that one looks ghostly. At the end of the day, I don't know, but go Google it. Abbey Road ghost photo, White House construction, 1950s. Thank you. Good night.
Jeff, thank you so much for coming on the show. Maybe we can do this again sometime and maybe give you a little more time because we had a ton more stuff to talk to you about.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Well, we'll see you in Salem when we open up the portal to hell.
Excellent.
Yes.
We'll be there with bells on.
100 points for Gryffindor.
Thank you, Jeff. Have a great night.
All right, take care, guys. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, that was Jeff Belanger. That was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Always a good time. I've watched him. We didn't get to talk about 30-odd minutes.
Yeah, or the half the things I wrote I didn't get to talk about.
30-odd minutes, if you've never watched the show, is awesome because it's literally him running around a building.
Yeah.
For some of them, and he's like up and down, like, great, we'll check back with you later. We're going to go downstairs now. Runs downstairs, says, hey, what's going on? How are you guys in here? I'm going back upstairs. And he's literally running around the building. It's awesome to watch.
Good stuff.
I absolutely love it. But yeah, he will be, he and Bob merch, like he said, go to jeffbelanger.com. That Ouija event is going to be in Salem, and like he said, it is free.
Yeah, it's free for the first 200 people.
200 people.
And then, well, I shouldn't say first 200, it's free for 200 people because what do you say?
Then you
fire code or whatever.
So if you guys can get there, definitely go. It's going to be an incredible night. Whether you think Ouija boards are the devil's doorway or you think they're just a board game, why not check it out?
That's going to be a really cool time. I
mean, you're with some pros, and Bob Merch knows what he's talking about when it comes to Ouija boards. So. And
Jeff's website is very cool. There's like a million things to look at and read and click on, and a ton of, you could spend like hours on that site. Yeah.
And if you haven't seen it, like you said, check out that Abbey Road picture too. From
check out, it's if you go to, I actually wrote it down. It's TEDx.com. It's hold on. It's TEDxtalks.ted.com. So TEDxTALKS.TED.com, and you have to search Jeff Belanger because, like you said, I think he's the only one that does a paranormal lecture, and it's like not even 10 minutes, but he talks about stories in the White House and just like you said, history is a ghost story.
Yeah.
And he shows that picture, and it's really cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool photos. Things I didn't know, like when the White House burned, that when they rebuilt the White House, to this day, there are sections of it on the outside that are still burnt, still charred, because they didn't want to build over it. They wanted to leave those there as a reminder to never let your guard down.
200 years ago. It was 1814 when that happened. That's 200 years ago. Wow.
Look at that, folks.
Right?
200 years. We're connecting history.
Yeah, yes.
So it looks like we have another guest calling in at the moment.
Ooh.
So I'm going to hit the lines because I think this person has been holding for a couple minutes now. So give me just a moment here.
Yep.
You're live on Paranormal Hangover. Who's this?
Hello, this is Christine. How are you, Mark and Lauren?
Christine!
Hello.
How are you, darling?
Good. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
A little tired, but we're very good to hear from you guys. I know you guys missed me.
Oh my God,
we really do. We haven't seen you since PhD, I think, right?
Yeah, it's been a while. Busy life.
Yep.
How about you?
We're doing friggin' awesome.
Yeah.
And I can say friggin' because it's our show. I'm gonna say it.
Oh, good.
Friggin'.
You can say whatever you want, Mark.
So as we said earlier, Christine is with Quest Paranormal. There's, I think you said 5 members, right?
Exactly. No, 4.
4. Sorry.
I'm sorry. No, I'm trying to. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to turn the radio down. Okay. It's 4 members, Mark, and we're all family.
That's awesome.
Nice.
That's awesome. And so you guys are in Northwest Connecticut.
That's right.
So that makes you kind of central to a lot of things. You're close to New York City. You're close to upstate. You're close to Western Mass. You're near everything. So that's a pretty good spot.
You got it. Yeah. So I love an adventure.
Why don't you tell everybody about yourself, about Quest, and maybe some things that you might do that's a little different or you find unique to your group as opposed to what everybody else might be doing?
Well, first of all, I grew up with psychic people around me my whole life, my family, my mother. Actually, my mother did work with the Warrens when I was a little kid here in Kent, Connecticut on a case. And, things that I had seen over time. And, it just piques your interest because you want answers to questions that you don't know, hence the paranormal. And, and for our techniques, it's everybody on my team brings a different viewpoint because everybody's different in the way that they think and the way that they use the equipment. So, it's kind of nice. And then you can just, use them as a soundboard when you go over the evidence. And, I love going to the events, and I love all the people that I've met. I mean, the journey's been wonderful. I've made beautiful friends, you guys included. And, it's all about learning, I think. I think the paranormal, for so long, like Jeff was saying, it encompasses everything, and I think for my group, that's what I try to do. I'm open to anybody's, whatever they can dream up, I'll try, And
it's really, who hasn't been curious in their life?
Exactly.
Whether you believe or not, there was some curiosity that made you go, I don't believe in that crap.
Yes.
Or, you go, I want to know a little bit more.
Yeah.
yeah, maybe that TV show did have it right, or maybe those guys that I saw, giving that lecture had it right. So,
right.
It was a pleasure for us to make your acquaintance through Glory Hunt Hounds and working with our buddy John and Kathy and everybody. So.
Yeah, from the beginning, Glory Hunt Hounds is, a special place in my heart. John and Kathy, they just opened up their arms, and they welcome everybody. They teach you, and they love you. I mean, you guys know, And, of course, I've learned from the best, Brian Cano and Chris Mancuso, word, bro. And they're so willing to listen. They're so willing to give of themselves, their knowledge, And that's what I learned from, and it's so enlightening for me because they take you under your wing there, and you can go anywhere, and it's a great thing.
Yeah. Very true.
Brian, that's how I met you, Lauren.
Yeah, exactly.
You were our history guide, right? You were our history guide the first time we had gone up to Lake George.
Yep.
Fort William Henry.
Right.
You did an awesome job.
Yeah.
You did. But what Jeff was saying about, I didn't know he was from Newtown, Connecticut, and the way he, was a writer and then he got into this, it's so cool because he's so right. Legends, myths, all these things came from somewhere,
Right.
Like Marc said, it piques your curiosity,
Yeah.
So I guess that's for the paranormal. It's not for me to, to go out and, I don't know, I'm just searching for my own answers, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think everybody, I'm not interested in, going on TV and getting a group and all that. No, that is not what I do, It's not what I want to do.
Do you guys go and do residential cases, or you strictly like to do larger venues and businesses and events and things like that?
No, we have done, like my goddaughter, she had moved into a house way before we were even a group. And so we decided we're going to get together and, try to help her, and she was having experiences. And they actually had video of orbs affecting their 3 dogs at night, like a certain time of night. So they'd play the video, and there's all these different lights, like, going around the dogs, and they were going crazy. So we had gone, that was kind of like our first residential place. And then my brother Ed, we had gone to Guntown Cemetery in Naugatuck, which is highly haunted in my opinion. And he had attachments. He had attachments because he's got 2 young boys. And, Dave DeLeese, was out here trying to help us out. And, anytime you reach out to the paranormal people, they help you. And that's a great thing. And that's what I want to see. I'm so tired of all the negative stuff, so I don't even involve myself.
Yeah, I don't blame you on that one.
Yeah, you just got to stay out of it, stay positive, keep good energy. I was burning white sage like for 20 years before anybody even said, oh, do this or do that. It's just a good energy thing for your home, anywhere you are,
Yeah, exactly.
One thing I wanted to say about what you just kind of picked up on, where you're tired of all the drama and all the people who aren't helping each other and talking behind each other's backs and killing each other. It's hard to get past all that.
Yeah, it should be a shared thing. Like if I bring you a photo, I'm just asking your opinion. That's Paranormal Warehouse. Like you can, for people like me, you can put everything out there and get people's opinions. And why not, welcome that? I mean, I don't understand people, like if I didn't find that video or EVP, then, it's ludicrous to me.
Yeah.
I just don't understand it.
You should be able to put the stuff out there and ask opinions. And you're not putting out there going, there's a ghost in this photo. I know it. Leave me alone.
No,
you're saying,
exactly.
What do you all see? What can we thought we saw this, but what do you make of it?
Yeah.
So, exactly.
Yeah. And it's good to have a outlet like Paranormal Warehouse to do stuff like that for you, because you just mentioned them. So those guys are awesome.
Yeah.
We have them on the
they
show.
are awesome. Yeah, from the very beginning, they help you. They'll give you ideas. Like I get emails all the time. Like, what is in that photo? And I ask them, well, what do you think it is? I'm not gonna, give it, what I think. I want to know what you think. That's why I put it out there.
Yeah,
But
right.
if everybody could just, have that common thread of like we're all searching for the knowledge. We want to know what happens to us after we die. We want to know if there's ghosts or spirits or whatever. And if everybody could work together and be positive, boy, what a difference it would make, huh?
Oh
right?
my God.
I mean, why wouldn't you want to see someone's picture and go, hey, tell me about what was going on at that time? Was it night or day?
Yeah.
What time was it? What was the temperature like? And put that towards your own research, because then you're thinking, hey, if I can ever get to that place, I want to do an experiment.
Yeah.
And see if I can figure out if I can recreate that picture. And if not,
and another thing is credibility. It's credibility. You have to, put it out there and see what everybody else says, and that's what's important in this field, I think. I mean, you can't have people chiming in and saying negative things, because I just ignore that. I don't even
that doesn't do anyone any good.
But
it doesn't.
The thing too is, though, we all have to face facts. Is that we do something that's pretty controversial. There are people that believe. There are people that don't believe. There are people that think if we did this back in the 1600s, we'd be witches and be hung by now. So
I know, it's crazy.
So we've got to expect to get attacked once in a while, and to take the bad with the good when we're putting out there EVP or a photo or whatever it might be that we're trying to find out what everybody else thinks.
Mm-hmm.
So that comes with the territory, but it's when groups are blatantly attacking an individual or another group just because.
Well, that's what I mean when I say that. I mean, as we're working together in this field, to try and figure out what's happening here, what's the paranormal? What is it? And as we're working together, why are you gonna put someone down? Yeah. Would you go to a thesis class, the thesis course, and sit with 5 other of your peers and be like, no, that paper sucks. I don't care if start over again because I don't agree with it. It sucks. You would never do that.
I think the common thing here is, I was taught growing up, is that kindness is the way to go. Okay, if you have nothing good to say, please don't say anything at all. That's just in my head. If you smile at somebody, guaranteed, 9 out of 10 times they're going to smile back. And if they don't, hey, I'm the better person. That's the way I was brought up. So that's how I approach the paranormal, is with great respect. The history of the place. I mean, I'm not out there provoking. I'm not looking for demons. But if I came across something like that, I want to make sure that I'm prepared, my team members are prepared. And so many people are getting into this today. These kids I've come across in different places, and they think it's a joke. And I'm like, you guys, you don't have a clue what you're dealing with here. You shouldn't be doing this if you're not knowledgeable enough to protect yourselves, your family members, because you don't know. If you're evil in life, you're going to be evil in death. And if you go into a cemetery or a place that has bad energy, God, that's what they're looking for, is somebody who's naive and, who doesn't understand. So that, I try to put that out there just to heed warning to these groups that are doing it, and they really don't have respect for it, because that's just a shame. It really is.
Right.
It absolutely is. And going into somebody's home, first of all, when you do a residential investigation, it doesn't matter what's happening to the family, you should never provoke.
Never.
You should not enter a family's home trying to provoke a spirit. Unless you're there to do an exorcism, because if you're provoking, you better be ready to get rid of it right afterwards.
Oh, and by the way, don't do an exorcism if you don't know how to.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. I'm a very spiritual person, even though I grew up as a Catholic. I'm just very spiritual in the sense where I believe a lot of the Indian ways for myself. Yeah. And, everybody has their own belief system, and that's great. If you have something like that, use it. Don't just go out there, because you never know what's going to happen. Why do you think they have all these shows? I mean, some of these shows, like The Haunted, it's really, if you think about it, you wrap your head around it and think, oh, my God, I would never buy a house that was, you're just like, what? But it happens all the time, And then I was watching TV the other night, and there's groups out there actually charging people residential.
Yes.
And I'm thinking to myself, charging? What? But it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Listen, this is not a living. We all do this unless we're on TV or, we have a name for ourselves. This is not a living. It's something that we do in our quote-unquote spare time because we're curious and because we want to help people.
Yeah.
So, listen, if you're going into a prison that had, nothing but murderers inside, and everybody that walks through the door gets scratched or pushed or people get thrown, maybe if that's what you want to experience, provoking is what you're going to do. Well, you're in a place where nasty people were. If you come in and walk and try and sing Kumbaya with them, you're going to end up getting scratched and stuff anyway, too.
Yeah.
But
Exactly. You learn your lessons. Look at Zach when he first started on Ghost Adventures. That guy scared me, what he was doing, and he has learned so much because you don't see him doing it anymore because of what's happened to him. And he, it was his curiosity, I believe. He had an experience with a ghost holding him down or whatever. But I'm so glad to see that he's learned so much and he's changed his ways,
Yeah.
And all those people are just wonderful. I like that show the best because it is 3 guys. And it's just them going in and getting that evidence. Everybody, if you show them something, they'll come back at you and they'll say, well, who was in the room? Like you said, Lauren, with the temperature and all this. If you know what the circumstances were and that's your evidence, then you should be credible enough to say, hey, that's my evidence. I'm asking your advice. If you don't want to give it or you don't believe me, whatever, that's on you, not me.
Right.
That's what's wrong. And it's really sad because the paranormal is something that somewhere in everybody's life, I don't care who you are, we're born, we live, and we die. You have to ask those 3 questions. Where did I come from? Why am I here? And where am I going to go when I die? That's for me. That's just something that's always stayed with me, and maybe that's why I'm, into the paranormal. I don't know. Besides seeing things and feeling things, you just search for answers. It's all about knowledge, I think, and I don't know if we'll ever know. I mean, honestly, in my lifetime, I don't know if we're going to find all the answers, but it's great to see that there are credible people that are doing it and finding something,
Well, it's good to hear. I mean, you're doing it the right way. Yeah. And that's what's important, and that's what's good to hear, and that's why we do these spotlights at the end of our show is to bring in people that we can network with and other people can hear the good. Nobody wants to hear the bad.
Yeah, and I appreciate that so much, Mark, because I can remember at the Proctors up in New York working with you for the first time, and I was really in awe of you because of the way that you were conducting yourself, and that really stayed with me, and I'm so glad to call you my friend and Lauren as well, because that's what's needed is the way that, you approach the paranormal, and I appreciate that. I really do.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I'm going to have to turn my head sideways when I walk through the door a little bit later.
No, I'm sure Lauren will deflate that real quick.
Deflate that.
You guys are the best, and I do appreciate it. I mean, I've never been on a radio show, so just talking to my friends and, listening to your shows, I really enjoy them. I really do. I learn a lot, and, I want to keep learning and keep the journey going.
Good. Awesome. Excellent. It was great having you, Christine.
Yeah.
We appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, great talking to you guys. And one other thing, when you're on this journey, always make sure that you keep that positive around you. That's all I can say. Because if you have that, nothing else can penetrate it. It's like a bubble. A bubble
really
of goodness.
Christine, how can everybody get in touch with Quest Paranormal?
Okay, Quest Paranormal, they can email me at my email. I know Angela's is on the website itself, but mine is Chris Cruz, the number 10, at yahoo.com.
Mm-hmm.
And then my phone number is 860. I don't call myself too often. 806-2362. So I got to look at my pad here. Did you get that, Lauren?
we got it.
We got it.
And what's the website, real quick?
It's Quest Paranormal of Connecticut. It's listed
Quest
under
Paranormal
the.
Connecticut. Cool.
Connecticut spelled out or just CT?
I'm sorry?
Connecticut spelled out or just CT?
Oh, hell no, it's CT.
Awesome.
Okay, cool.
Quest Paranormal of CT.
Okay, cool.
You got it.
Thank you so much.
Great talking with both of you. Yeah, you too. Take care. Okay, bye.
Bye. Oh, man, it's hot in here.
Everybody, that was an awesome show. We appreciate you tonight listening in, and we'll catch you on next Wednesday with a pretty cool Paranormal Hangover you'll have to tune in to see.
See you later, guys.
Bye.
Have a great night.
Bye.
Bye.